In order to understand the importance of uninsured motorist coverage, it is essential to understand exactly what it is, what it does, and especially how it works right here in Maryland. And joining us now to talk much more about this is attorney Paul DeMore, who specializes in personal accident and injury cases. Also with him, attorney Scott Lucas. Welcome to you both, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Wyatt.
It's great to have you here. Look, uninsured motorist coverage. This is like a critically important area to have covered, and a lot of people may not even understand what it really is. Give us the 10,000-foot view here.
Sure, absolutely. Uninsured motorist coverage is that coverage that you purchase as part of your own insurance policy that provides coverage for you in case you're struck by someone who's either has no insurance themselves or who has less insurance than is necessary to adequately reimburse you or compensate you for your injuries.
Or potentially a hit and run where that person can't be tracked down.
It could be something, a hit and run. It could be someone operating, for instance, a stolen motor vehicle, in which case the insurance for that vehicle wouldn't cover your injuries.
And now you're going to have to rely on your insurance. And Paul, I know you've seen this in the courtroom yourself. I mean, look, it's more than 1 in 10 motorists nationwide and here in Maryland don't have any insurance. So even if they hang around the accident scene, you're still going to have to rely on your uninsured motorist policy.
Right. I can't tell you the number of times Scott and I are in the office together. I mean, he's our resident expert in automotive tort cases. The times he comes to me and says, we've got a really injured client and they're not at fault in the accident, and the other party, the at-fault party, doesn't have enough insurance. And I say, well, do they have uninsured coverage or underinsured coverage? And he says no. And that's the reason we're here today, because we really want your viewers to understand this is not an expensive thing to have, and it's sort of undersold, I think, by the insurance companies. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a second. So I think the standard, in Maryland at least, is what, a 30,000, 60,000 insurance policy? Talk about that and how people can increase that.
Absolutely. So that 30,000, 60,000 policy simply means $30,000 for any one individual, but only $60,000 aggregated for the entire accident. And so what most people have is that same 30-60 for their uninsured motorist coverage. And what you want to be able to do is increase that amount so that if you're struck by someone who has only $30,000 of insurance, and most cars do, they have mostly the minimum, you want to be covered. You want $100,000, $250,000, some number that's going to be appropriate to protect you and your family.
You know, an uninsured person, hits you broadside and you have significant injuries on that side of your body. This is going to go way beyond $30,000 or $60,000 worth of health care.
It's going to go far beyond $30,000 or $60,000. You have to think in terms of your immediate medical bills. You have to think in terms of your lost wages. You have to think in terms of your future medical needs, your future lost wages. The amount of economic damage that can be done to a family because of these serious and catastrophic accidents is extraordinary. It's devastating, and if you don't cover yourself with uninsured motorist coverage, it could be to your detriment.
It makes total sense. It's a protection that we want to have, and apparently upping your coverage is not tremendously expensive in many cases. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely, and that's important for people to understand and to know, because a lot of people think if you have $30,000 worth of coverage and it costs you $5, for example, they think, well, if I double it to $60,000, then my premiums are going to be $10. But that's not how it works. The premiums
go up $1 or $2.
Just go up $1 or $2, and if you double it to again to 120, it might just go up 50 cents or so. So I encourage everyone, go and get the quotes. Check and see how much $100,000 would cost you, $250,000, because you'll find it's much cheaper than you think, and it's definitely worthwhile if you're going to protect your family.
10, 12, 13% of motorists, no insurance driving around out there. And blast off, Paul, I know you say, look, I mean, a lot of these people, they're the ones who cause more than 10 or 12% of the accidents.
Well, they're the highest risk drivers, the people who can't afford to insure their vehicles or can't afford to buy policies anymore because they've been in so many accidents. Yeah. And let's face it, insurance is about protecting yourself. So why not take that opportunity when you can to directly protect yourself? Uninsured and underinsured coverage, it's a no-brainer. It's the easiest thing in the world. And it allows us to get justice and compensation for people who aren't at fault for their injuries.
Yeah. You've shed a lot of light on the topic. I know I'm going to be calling my insurance company, maybe upping it, because you've given me a lot to think about. If you want more information, the Serious Injury Resource Center at DeMoreInjuryLaw.com. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us today. Great topic, very important information.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate having you here. And we are back with more Midday Maryland right after this. Stay tuned.